Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'd like to call the Wilmington Board of Selectmen meeting at 7:05 on this Monday, May 11, 2015. I have to tell you that this is probably the prettiest meeting I've had all year. So we're delighted to have all of you young ladies and your respective family and friends here. Yep, you can wave to the camera. The camera's right over there, so if you want to get, there you go. So we're thrilled to have you here this evening. You are a very sought-after group of young ladies. We had to check with your agent to get you scheduled here tonight, so we're thrilled to have you front and center at the beginning of the agenda. Okay, so bear with us as we go through a little bit of business, and then we'll get right to you and recognizing you for your major accomplishment. Okay, thank you. See, they're already calling to talk to you. It must be the press. So all members are present. And at this time, I'd kindly ask if we can all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would kindly ask Selectman Shampoo to lead us in that effort.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. So at this time, we're going to start off with the transmitting of the Treasury warrants 45, 45A, 46, and 46A. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to the approval of the minutes for March 23rd, 2015 and April 27th, 2015. If everyone on the board is okay, I'd like to take those meeting minutes up together. And having said that, would anyone like to make a motion?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Okay. Moving on to our first appointment, which is the recognition of the Popwana Pee Wee Team cheerleaders and coaches. And I have a little write-up here that I received from Coach Smith. So once again, very pleased to have you all here this evening, and I'm just going to take a peek at that. So, Coach Smith was kind enough to contact us here at the town, and she shared with us that the Wilmington Popwana Pee Wee cheer team, once again, you are national champions, and that you competed against 11 teams from all over the United States in your Division III section in Disney World on December 9th of 2014, and you were awarded the national championship as well as the Grand National Championship title. Wow. That was pretty exciting. So this team was also awarded the Grand National Championship of all teams of all ages who competed at the National Championship, which means that our C team of 9, 10, and 11-year-olds beat all ages through 15. This is an enormous accomplishment and honor. So how about a round of applause? We are very lucky that Wilmington has had 10 national cheerleading championships over the years, but have never won this prestigious award. So once again, congratulations to all of you. As a board, we're going to offer some comments to you now as congratulations to each of you, and then we're going to present each of you with a certificate, and Town Manager Hull to my left will be reading off the names, and if you'd like to come up to the front here, I'd like to present the certificates to you individually and shake your hand, and then we'll have a group photo. Okay, so I'm going to start with some comments from the board members, and I'm going to start to my right, please.
I just want to say to all the young ladies that participated, congratulations, and just remember, when you get recognized like this, that means that people know who you are, and when they see you walk through town, they understand, you know, that you've been successful, and that even at a young age, you've learned how to compete and how to carry yourself the right way. So make sure you continue to do that as you grow a little bit older and move along in cheering and in school and all the other things that you do. Remember that you've now set an expectation for other folks in town to recognize you, and make sure you live up to that recognition. And congratulations.
I agree with Selectman Newhouse, all his words, but congratulations. It's a lot of work to get to the level that you girls have done. And you should be very proud of yourself, and as your parents, I'm sure, are very proud of all the hours that you spend right out back here and wherever else you're training. But you wear that W on your shirt with pride, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Once again, I know it's all been said, but I want to congratulate all you young ladies for winning the national title. I mean, Wilmington has always done fantastic in sports, and above and beyond you girls, we got to also thank your mom and dad driving you to and from all the festivities and all the fields. So I think your parents need a round of applause. But once again, congratulations. Once again, congratulations, and it's a real proud moment here in the town. Thank you.
Hard to find something new after all of my colleagues have said all the good stuff, but I would say this, along with what Mr. Newhouse said, you have carried yourself around the state when you go and you compete at different towns, but now you've competed around the country in going to Florida and other places. So the way that you conduct yourself and the way that you show yourselves in the community and in other communities is how people view Wilmington. So when you're in Tewksbury or you're in Burlington or whatever town you're in, they're looking at that W on your shirt and they're thinking, hey, Wilmington must be a pretty cool place because look at these young ladies. So congratulations and thank you very much for representing the town so proudly. And thank you also and congratulations to all the coaches and the volunteers who also put in so many hours and all that time. So congratulations and well-deserved award to you.
Town Manager, how would you like to make any comments?
I think it's pretty much all been said, but certainly the time and effort you put in, none of these types of awards are given out easily. It takes a lot of dedication, and as you, I'm sure, know, the time and effort you put in, and it really is something that you should be proud of and use this going forward in other things that you may be working on, whether it's in school or sports. Just recognize that if you put in the time and the commitment, good things will happen. So congratulations.
So at this time, we're going to present you with certificates. I also wanted to once again say congratulations. It's my understanding there's 19 members on the squad and there's 3 coaches, so wanted to congratulate all of you. Also all the family members that are here, parents, and hopefully you ladies were able to take in some of the amusement parks while you were there, yes? Favorite ride, anyone? Right here.
Right? Roller coaster.
Roller coaster? Tower of Terror?
Mount Everest.
Mount Everest, all right. Good information. All right. So at this time, I'm going to step to the front, and Town Manager Hull is going to read off the names, and if you'd like to come up and get your certificate, and we're going to just form a group right here in front, and we'll take a quick photo.
Nope, they got to need their hands.
Yes.
Can you either see something?
Oh, absolutely.
We just like to say that everybody here is our family, and we just like to stay here forever. And we wanted to thank Coach Doug for bringing us on the competition floor ever since we were either 6 or 8 or 10. If this is your first year cheerleading, I hope that you will do it next year.
Geez, if I had known you were this ready, I would have just had you run the meeting tonight. Now, I apologize if I mispronounce anybody's name. Tiffany Barrera Perry. Sophie Brewer. Julia Campbell. Marissa Camp. Isabella Catalano. Allison Salata. Congratulations. Victoria Champa. Haley Donovan. Sophia Donovan. Allison Bob. Alan Ford. Emerson Forsythe. Madison McCarthy. Ashley Murdoch. Janelle Penny. Now I know where she gets her voice. Kelly Rabaglia. Tiffany Smith. Olivia Steen. Camilla Thompson. Coach Deb Smith. Coach Deb Thompson. Congratulations. Coach Janine Persum. Congratulations. And then here is a certificate I'd like to present to the entire squad to you, Coach Smith. It's presented to the Pee Wee Teen Cheerleading Squad for your 2014 National Championship Division Level 3 Grand National Champions. Congratulations. Forward and come right across the front. If the coaches can take a photo as well, that would be great.
How about you?
Do that too.
Thanks a lot. All right, we're going to do one with you guys all standing, and then we're going to make 2 rows, okay? So kneeling and standing up. Ready? I need you to slide over a little bit. Yep, there you go. All right. Can everybody see their cheerleader? All right, you guys ready? Go ahead, guys. Okay. You guys ready to go 2 rows now? Try to get 2 rows together. There you go. There you go. Let's just take 3 guys. You guys step forward? There you go. There you go. Better. Thank you. You guys ready? All right, everybody, cheese on 3. 1, 2, 3. What are we doing, guys? Everybody outside? One more? No, she's in there. Everybody outside? Thank you.
Absolutely. Do one quick cheer before we send you on your way. Once again, thank you very much, and we know that you have school in the morning, so parents, we will not be offended if you'd like to take your children home this evening. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. as they exit the building. So that definitely is a tough act to follow. No pressure, Nancy. I know. So at this time, we're moving on to our next appointment, which is with Nancy Valley, the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce, regarding the request to conduct the Town of Wilmington 11th Annual Half Marathon and 5K Run Walk on Sunday, September 27, 2015. Welcome, and I'm just going to pass out these handouts that Nancy just gave me. So I'm going to send 2 over here, and I'll send the rest this way. And at this time, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Congratulations to all of them, and yes, this is a tough act to follow. I am here on behalf of the Chamber Board of Directors to once again request permission for the Chamber to coordinate and implement Wilmington's 11th Annual Half Marathon and 5K Road Race. The road race this year would take place on Sunday, September 27th, at the same location in front of WCTV at 10 Waltham Street from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. As you know, the event attracts many out-of-town racers and running clubs, as well as athletes from our Wilmington school and community. Last year, we had 632 participants, plus about another 100 spectators at the site. We provide a fun and festive atmosphere, including the opportunity for chamber members to set up tables to promote their products and services, encouraging buy local spending. We also get about 50 high school students that volunteer their time and earn their community service hours, and proceeds from our race will continue to be passed on to the Wilmington students in the form of scholarships. As we do every year, we will work closely with the Wilmington Police and Fire Departments to ensure a safe event for runners and drivers alike.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you for being here. Once again, appreciate all of the efforts that you and the Chamber do to bring these events every year. Certainly look forward to these requests, and it really does bring the community together. This time, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff to see if there are any recommendations from public safety, et cetera, that you can share, and then I'll see if anyone on the board wants to entertain a motion to grant the request.
I think at this time, there's no concerns about the date. I know that the Chamber and Nancy will be working with the police chief and the police department in preparing for this, Lieutenant Desmond particularly, to coordinate it. The one issue that I know I've received calls on periodically in the past is just to make sure that First Street is that there's barriers set up in the parking area along First Street, because that area tends to be, at least in the past, has sometimes been used as a parking area, and the residents need to get in and out of there. I know last year it went well, so I would anticipate no problems again going forward.
Any questions or comments from anyone on the board?
Yeah, if I just make a quick comment. Just in the interest of full disclosure, in the past, I've acknowledged this, but didn't recuse myself, and I think it's just prudent, given the circumstances, that I will. I sit on the Board of Directors of the Chamber of Commerce and have for a number of years. Certainly, there's no conflict by that, but just to remove any potential, consideration of any kind of a conflict, at least as the vote comes up, I'll just recuse myself from taking the vote.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone want to make a motion to grant the request?
So moved.
Motion been made, do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Okay, 4 in favor and 1 abstaining. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Good
very
luck.
much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next appointment with Michael Woods, Department of Public Works Director, regarding an update on the automated trash and recycling program. Good evening.
Good evening. Here tonight to tell you about the trash program and how it's going and what we're doing to set it up. With me to my left is Joe Lobeo, our DPW business manager and a co-owner of Russell Disposal, the contractor coming on board on July 1st. I might tell you his name is Kevin Douglas.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Just want to go over what the program is all about. To our right here is the 2 barrels that will be used. They'll be, Town of Wilmington will be labeled on them. The smaller barrel in our town will be blue also. It's 64 gallons. And in the back, the green one is a 95-gallon. That'll be strictly for the recycling. Right now, those barrels will be delivered on the week of June 20th. They'll be delivered to everybody's yard that's a resident that's on the assessor's rolls, and we expect that to go fairly quick, 4 or 5 days. We will start the program July 1st. It's in the middle of a week, but based on the way the contracts end and begin, it will be on the 1st. So June 30th, people continue with regular trash. July 1st, it'll go to using these barrels. That'd be the first time folks would be using those barrels on July 1st. Benefits of the program, decrease in trash, increase in recycling rates, decrease of cost for trash disposal, and cleaner neighborhoods. We've had a number of meetings and informational seminars. One of the big questions that seems to pop up is, do I need to bring my recycled barrel out every 2 weeks, or do I have to bring my trash barrel out every week? I won't fill it up in that amount of time. There's no limit on when you have to bring your trash or recycled barrel out. Trash, you may want to get rid of it immediately, but recycle, certainly you want to skip. It's every 2 weeks, just as it is now. If you want to go every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, that's a personal decision made based on your usage. Once people get these barrels and start using them, we're getting questions about, oh, I'm going to fill these barrels, I'll need 2 or 3 of these barrels. We're asking everybody to just try it for a week or 2 with just the barrels that we deliver, and I think you'll find in 99% of the cases that'll be more than sufficient. If you're recycling, you have a typical size family, that'll be more than sufficient, these 2 barrels, to take care of your needs. But in the case that you do find you need more after a couple of weeks, you can purchase a recycle barrel for $30 from the town by calling Russell Disposal, or you can lease a trash barrel, and that fee is
$150 for the first year.
$150 for the first year, and then $100 every year afterwards. We will have a drop-off event for anybody who wants to get rid of their old barrels that they're not using anymore, or these containers that we currently use. That'll be set up down at the Public Works during a time certain, probably about a 3-week time window in September, dates to be determined. Just want to go on to tell you that the collection for trash and recycling remains the same for everybody's home, so there's no changes there. Single stream recycling, still everything that recycles goes into that green bin. There's no charge for white goods or yard waste, leaf waste, CRTs and things like that. We currently charge for will be continue to be done the same way, where you come down here at Town Hall, get a ticket at the treasurer's office, and then we will pick it up. Any bulky items, the one change that we do have is before they call the Public Works, now they will call Russell Disposal direct, and all that information will be given out several different times in writing, so people will know that. It's also on our frequently asked questions on the Public Works website, and we're sending out a calendar that'll also be on there, and what weeks different solid waste is being picked up, such as leaves or things like that. We've completed civic events, like I had said earlier. We were at the Teen Job Fair on April 22nd. April 30th, we did an informational session at the Senior Center. Had a very large turnout, far more than I expected. Went very well, and We had a lot of folks that didn't think they could handle the big carts, which we actually had full of recycle, move them around, touch them, feel them. A couple folks were still hesitant, but I think all in all it went very well. Those carts just remain down at the senior center, and people as they come in and out are using it, and we will have another informational session there. The director down there thinks it's warranted. We had one at the library at the new resident reception. A lot of people looking, asking questions, what have you, on these barrels. We do have frequently asked questions attached to it so people can read about it and understand how these things work. We will be at the farmers market opening day, and we'll have staff there to show people how it works and answer their questions. You've seen them around town. We've had them at Town Hall. We have them at the library. They've been at the election polling places, at town meetings. So it's been out there, got around. We've had a number of press releases, some tweets over social media and things like that. We've had a few phone calls in the early parts of this program, but over the last, I would say, 3 weeks, we haven't received any phone calls. So I'm not sure that's good, bad, or indifferent, but seems to be going smooth so far. We do have a couple of informational sessions going on in the schools with fourth grade. One scheduled for this Friday, and the other one will be scheduled sometime this week. It'll probably be on a Friday, and just teaching the younger kids about recycling and the virtues of it. Going forward, we've got a small snippet that'll be going on WCTV sometime in probably towards the end of May. That'll go on through the summer. We have an informational poster that's already on the WCTV, similar to what you saw at the other locations where the barrels have been, the large poster, so people can read that. We have a postcard going out the end of this week that'll, again, give people the breakdown of how to use this, how the program works, where to find additional information, and certainly how to get a hold of us to answer any questions they may have. We have a solid waste disposal pamphlet going out. It's 89 pages. It has a calendar in it. It tells about a variety of things on how to get rid of solid waste. Everything from places where you can donate items to where you can and cannot recycle, important dates to remember, when your recycle week is and is not. Like I say, that'll be coming out in mid-June. And I think that probably sums up everything that we've put together to date. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Madam Chair, if I could just make a couple of points. One is that the intent here is clearly to increase the amount of recycling and divert as much material out of the solid waste stream as we can, because right now we're sending a little over 9,000 tons of material to the incinerator in North Andover at a cost, I believe, of $63 or $64 a ton. So to the extent we can divert tonnage out of that waste stream, that's a cost that we're going to avoid. So that's where a good portion of the expected savings is going to come from this program. By getting people to recycle more of their waste, it'll reduce the cost of shipping it to the incinerator. The other point with that the director raised on the use of these bins, I suspect there will be some measure of concern about whether the trash receptacle is going to be large enough to accommodate people. As was mentioned, there is the ability to rent a second bin for $150 for the first year and $100 thereafter. But we're strongly encouraging people to first try using the bags that are available and will be available in the supermarkets, some of the supermarkets in the area. One of the things that Public Works is doing right now is to line up and make commitments with the various supermarkets in the area to stock these bags, but the expectation is that you'll be able to buy the bags for $10 for 5 bags, and was it 34-gallon bags? Is that
Correct.
So they're good-sized bags. So the idea is try that first rather than spending the money on another container. In other communities, this is what's been done, and oftentimes, and I can speak to this directly, that you buy the bags thinking you're going to need them and you don't ultimately use them all. So I think that's an important point. The other point with regard to the recycling unit, the intent here is clearly to encourage recycling, and so even though that unit costs us somewhere in the neighborhood of $70, that's the cost that we incur from Russell. We're subsidizing that with the idea of, again, encouraging people to recycle. We don't want to, if people are maxing out their recycling bin, we don't want to discourage people from recycling, so we're subsidizing the cost on that recycling unit.
Okay, thank you. This time I'll turn it over to the board members. I'll start on my left, if anyone has any questions or comments.
Yeah, real briefly, it might be for Jeff or Mike, I'm not sure. Bags, so the bags at the grocery stores will be the extra bags, and they would be filled and placed beside the blue bin on trash day, right? So in that particular case, the driver will have to get out and physically put the bag in. With the use of the blue bin, you still want to recommend the use of traditional, hefty bags or whatever. In other words, you don't want loose trash. You don't recommend loose trash in the blue bin. You want to have the trash in smaller bags, and those smaller bags are sort of stacked or pushed into the blue bin. Is that right?
Ideally, yes.
Ideally, okay. In your communications, I think you said there was a multi-page document that's going to go out at some future date, and I suspect it's in there, and I suspect it's also on the website, but I want you to confirm for me. A reaffirmation or a reconfirmation of what is recyclable. I mean, I think we might now have the opportunity here to, if we want to increase the level of how much people participate in the idea of recycling, we want to sort of re-educate of what is recyclable and what goes in the green and what goes in the blue. Is that going to be publicized?
That will be in the pamphlet. Okay. It is relayed in these various informational seminars we've done, and be happy to go over it here if you would like.
I don't want to, beat the heck out of it for time, but certainly I just want people to recognize that that information is out there and available, and I leave it up to the chair if she wants to have you go through it. If you think it's beneficial, I'm certainly willing to listen to it.
If you have the information and you want to just give a rundown of brief summary, that would be.
Can I get you to just...
So it's the same as you have now. You currently have single stream, and that will continue, and that takes cardboard, all your mixed paper, newspapers, cereal boxes, everything that we see as a mixed package of papers that you might have in the house, whether it be junk mail, all that sort of thing. And then you've got your bottle glass, your green glass, not glassware, not a glass that you would drink out of. That sort of glass is not recyclable, but your bottled glass, and of course all your plastics, your milk jugs, your plastic water bottles, and the other plastics 1 through 7, which does not include styrofoam. Plastic bags are not recyclable. They don't go in there. I mean, that's basically what you have now in your mix, and that doesn't change. It's pretty much the same as it has been.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Michael?
Real briefly, it's something that popped into my head a little while ago, and I don't want to make a big deal. It just occurred to me that I've spent a fair amount of time over the last several years on athletic fields where there's kids bringing lots of bottles. So I don't know if any thought has been given to placing 1 or 2 or some number of those at Shawsheen and maybe back here during football season or whatever. Just, you don't even have to answer it, but just give that some thought. If it hasn't been put in place, it might be a prudent thing to include as we go forward to encourage the kids on those fields to participate in recycling.
We do supply the schools with a large amount of recycled bins, and I will talk with the athletic director just to bring that to his attention.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Great, thank you. That's all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Just a quick question, unless it's already been answered, and I hope it does work out. Let's say this is successful. What does the good folks in Wilmington, the residents, say they have 3, 4, 5 barrels? What do they do with those barrels? How do they dispose of those?
In September, we're going to have dumpsters down at the DPW, probably Monday through Saturday, and folks can come down during that 3-week window and get rid of their current barrels. We just thought we'd let people keep both barrels for a while. Some folks are going to say, I want them, keep it for a bit, and then they're going to decide, I'm not using it, and throw it away.
I mean, I just thought if it becomes successful, which, it may very well be, and I hope it is, what do they do with their barrels? Like, I know I got 5 barrels in my house. What do I do with those 5? For example, and I'm sure I'm not alone,
Right. Bring them down, throw them away, they're recyclable, so we'll take care of them.
All right, great. All right, very good.
Anything over here?
My question, and I think you alluded to, or maybe the manager alluded to, working on getting retail establishments of whatever kind, supermarkets and whatnot. Do you have a list of retailers that are going to carry these, or when will that be available?
The 4 that we're approaching are the Stop and Shop in North Reading, Eli's, Lucci's, and Market Basket. Market Basket just today confirmed that they're on board. We expect the other 3. We expect the other 3 will also, but we don't have commitments from them at this point.
Okay. And then just while we're here and we're publicizing this, July 1st, I tried to go into my phone 3 times and pull up my calendar, and I'm having trouble. What day of the week is that? So a Wednesday? So Wednesday, July 1st is the first route that folks should expect to use them.
So we really need to make clear that Monday and Tuesday, people use their regular barrels that they're using today, but that Wednesday, they move to these barrels.
Okay, and if the 1st is a Wednesday, there's no holiday that Monday. All right, so then in terms of additional information, obviously folks can call the DPW and go on the website. Is that the primary point of information here? I just want to make sure we're being clear, and when the media reports on this, that if folks have questions, I have to believe the first week of July is going to be the busiest time in terms of responding to those questions.
Right.
Even after it's implemented, DPW as opposed to Russell, right? That Wilmington residents should be contacting the DPW with questions.
Absolutely.
And if appropriate, you'd refer them to Russell.
Right.
Okay.
And again, our website's full of information, and that week is also a holiday with the July 4th, which is the second biggest trash day of the year. And let me see, that is on a Saturday, so there'll be a normal trash week, Monday through Friday. There won't be Saturday pickup.
Okay.
So even though Friday Town Hall is closed, a lot of folks have that day off. The 4th is the actual holiday, so we will pick up through that whole week, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday through the 3rd
Right.
is pickup.
Right.
Okay, and my pickup happens to be Friday. Is there a Saturday route normally?
No, not
Saturday
normally.
route? All right.
If the 4th was actually Friday, then your trash would have been picked up on Saturday.
Gotcha. All right, I understand what you're telling me. Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I just want to make a point that we're very proud in this town that we don't have fees for trash, for schools, for sports, and I think we're kind of going in that direction with this. I really don't think there's fees other than maybe having to buy some extra bags, which I know I will. But the single stream, only because I have big boys at home, but the single stream recycling, I think, is a huge point. When we went to single stream a few years back, I remember the convenience of it. But do you have any kind of numbers of tonnage that we might have saved when we went to single stream? I mean, it was real money. I remember the percentage was pretty high.
Our percentage currently is bouncing between 16 and 17%.
Really?
Recycled, yeah.
Of recycling?
That's right. Of our solid waste stream, 16 to 17% is being recycled. We we're expecting to jump that within the first year to 34%.
Yeah, that would make more sense. So, yeah, I think I agree with yourself and the town manager, and that we should just give this a shot. I mean, the recycle barrel holds 7 or 9 of the ones we use now?
7, I believe.
7? Okay, 7. So that should be sufficient, and maybe to throw a little more in the people that don't think about it a lot. But the single-stream recycling is extremely easy, and give it a shot, and I hope it works out.
Madam Chair, just one quick question, if you don't mind. You may have answered it a few months ago. Week after Christmas, ton of trash, ton of paper, ton of boxes. And before you'd bring it out and they would take care of it, what are we going to do right now, say the week after Christmas? We're going to have to go out, buy these bags, break up everything, and put them in the bags? Or is there like a little bit of a grace period where somebody comes out and they put their stuff from, say, Christmas the following week? Because there's usually, right after Christmas, tons. And I'm literally saying tons of stuff that's probably going to be put out. What do we do with all that?
I'm going to let you handle that.
Okay.
Well, in the towns that we do automated currently, that barrel handles Christmas. It really does. It's a 95-gallon barrel. It'll handle, the wrapping paper goes pretty easily.
Sure, that might be going to a Scrooge house, but what happens you go to a real house and there's a lot of trash? What are you going to do? Like,
I think in most of the towns, we're in, there's a mix.
You know, if they're watching, Dad takes care of everybody, but anyway, go ahead.
Well, you wouldn't buy the bags for recycling anyway. The bags are for trash. So if the bags were out, the trash men would take it. So for recycling, you've got to use that 95-gallon barrel. There really isn't a second alternative unless you'd already bought that second barrel for $30. But I really don't think you're going to have a problem with it. But if someone did, if it was that big, then they might have to carry some over for the next time. And you know, when the barrel gets picked up on Tuesday after Christmas, you might half fill it with what was left over that you still had, and you still should be okay by the second pickup. But I think you'll find that the barrel will work at Christmas time. And you might, you know, if people have more trash at Christmas time, that's where the bags would come in handy.
Yes.
$30 will get you another green recycling barrel,
Correct.
and $100 or $150 the first year will get you another trash one.
Right.
Yeah.
Trash barrel,
Okay.
So for $30, you're getting a very nice trash barrel that's guaranteed for 10 years. And
So what if I get the one for $30? Can I paint it blue?
you can get it by the guys, you know, best of luck.
I think the manager made a really good point, though, is that, you know, the true cost is $70, and the town is actually subsidizing that. So that's the town's gesture to try and motivate and incent people to move more towards recycling, if I understood it correctly. So
I mean,
the sizes and the pricing is strategically done to try and drive traffic to the recycling bin.
Absolutely. The trash cost is what it costs us, and the recycling we're subsidizing.
Correct. Okay, did you have an additional
Yeah, I
comment?
just wanted to be clear, at Christmas time, and I suspect also at 4th of July and some of the other, a lot of the stuff that creates a lot of trash is recyclable, right? The wrapping paper, the packaging of the gifts, and, you know, the things that the boxes, that all goes in the green bin, not the blue bin, right? So you're suggesting that you collapse that stuff down and cut it down, or whatever you have to do, it's going to fit. So that makes sense to me. If we were trying to shove 3 bags worth of trash into that blue bin, it would never go, but I can see it fitting into the green one. So, thanks.
Anything else? Yes.
I would just point out again that people should remember that their schedule, if you're on a Monday pickup, it will remain a Monday pickup when this new system transitions in. So, you know, there's a lot of elements of this program that will remain the same. As the director noted, you know, the bulk items, there's not going to be a change in terms of that process other than the point of contact. There's a lot of the program that will remain unchanged. And again, the date of your collection will remain the same. As holidays come up, there are certain holidays where if town hall is closed, the collection gets deferred a day. All of that will continue as is currently, and with the calendars going out as part of this information packet, that information, you know, you should really pay attention to that, because that will assist you greatly.
Leaf pickup and all that type of thing will continue the same way also, only Russell Disposal instead of our current contractor that's not been performing quite very well. Russell will be picking that up, and I expect that to be run a lot better than it has the last couple of years.
So just to maximize the airtime, I know it's in a lot of the FAQs, people should have their bins out prior to 6 a.m. in the morning, is that correct?
That's correct. And the barrels are fairly rugged, very stable. They're varmint-proof, and so if you need to put it out in the evening, you don't get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. They're probably going to be standing up, winds and things like that, not going to knock them around like you have with, say, the Home Depot barrel.
And obviously the bar side facing out, and then is there a suggested distance from the curb that it should be out so that they can get access to it?
Right, you need, go ahead, Kim.
Should be right at the curb, but they need to be separated by about 3 feet.
Separated by about 3 feet, and the intent would be that the covers on both would be officially 100% closed,
Yes.
correct?
Right.
That's important,
Yes.
because people, sometimes if they want to try and overstuff them, they'll leave the lid up or off, not up, but, pulled back, so the intent would be for it to
Right,
be
it does
closed.
need to be closed. If it's open or jammed too full, then they're not going to pick it up.
Okay.
And the videos and the literature going out, that'll all be described in detail.
Okay. Yeah, the 100% closed, I think, is really an important one. The 3 feet apart is important, too. I mean, it's all important, but you know what I'm saying? The
Right.
little logistical aspects that people may not necessarily be used to, because typically people cluster their trash and
Right.
recycling together.
We expect a week or two, there'll be, some folks that forget or maybe don't quite remember what they read or heard, so we'll deal with that the first couple of weeks.
All right.
Madam Chair, just want to hear you right. That has to be completely closed, so if somebody tries to put another bag and that's open halfway, they're not going to take it?
That's the town's call, but in all the communities we work in, that's what they want. What we've done in the past is, the first time we bump into that, we'll leave a sticker, we'll take it. But if we see it over and over, then we won't leave anything until we talk to DPW. But the whole automated system is based on, that 64-gallon barrel being closed. One of the problems with it being open, it's easy for rodents and things to get into, so that's an issue. But more, it's an issue of just having no more trash in there than that barrel. So we won't, if the first week we find some lids half open, we're going to empty them. We'll leave some sort of a notice. And if we see it over and over at the same households, then we'll be calling Mike and say, okay, does the town want to send a letter out to these folks, or do you want us to just leave it next week? And that's how we'll handle it.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing that I picked up on, is it has to be 100% closed, so I think that's important.
I understand you got to do the right thing. I just got mixed feelings on it, to be totally honest. I know you got to do the right thing, and I did say I'd support it and vote for it. Was a little bit skeptical in the beginning. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm still skeptical, and I gave the vote for it. And I just hope it doesn't just bite me in the butt next time to say, man, what a big mistake this was. Because believe me, I won't hesitate to tell you. I think if you don't know me, I will. But we'll see how it goes. Thanks.
Anyone else? Anything else that you have for us?
No.
Thank you for everything that you've done up to this point to get it rolled out. We know it's been a big effort to do that, and there's mixed emotions and feelings about the whole thing, but we know that you're doing everything you can to roll out a successful program, so thank you.
Well, it's certainly changed, and we're trying to do everything we can to make it as easy as possible on everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. Okay, so moving on to our next appointment, which is the reorganization of the Board of Selectmen. And at this time, I just wanted to publicly acknowledge the board and say thank you to all of you for the last year. I have enjoyed being your chair. It certainly has been a very enlightening and educational experience for me. I feel that we worked well collectively as a team. We certainly didn't always agree on everything, but I think the professionalism and the civility and the work ethic that we displayed as a board, certainly in my opinion, it illustrates the fact that we're committed to the residents of Wilmington and conducting the business of the town in a positive and respectful manner. So I wanted to say that. I also wanted to thank Jeff personally, as well as the town leadership team, for working with me over the last year. Once again, there were a lot of agenda items and different projects, and I feel that we worked well as a team. I'd also like to thank the administrative staff at Town Hall, specifically Paula, Wendy, and Bev, and specifically thank you, Bev, for everything that you've done to work with me as a chair. Been an absolute joy to work with, and so committed to your job, and you've been here for years and years and years, and I really appreciate you keeping me in line and on time and on task, and I just wanted to publicly thank you for always being such an integral part of this board and seeing that we get things done and done well. So thank you. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the board. At this point, we would be looking to see if anyone would like to bring forth a nomination. I'm going to refrain from any additional comments and leave it out to all of you, if anyone would like to take the lead on that and step forward.
Madam Chair, if I may, I want to thank you, too, personally. I think you've done a wonderful job this year. As you stated, we have not always agreed on everything, but I think everybody on this board is committed to doing what we feel is best for the town. And your leadership was just wonderful for the past year. And I thank you very much and congratulate you on an extremely successful year.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I didn't realize we were going to make a comment now, but Lou always seems to do it first, and he does always a great job at it. No, I just want to say pretty much what Lou said. I just want to say I think you did a fantastic job this year as chairperson. I believe you've been very fair to, your colleagues. You're very fair to the residents out there. Some residents may not as fair as to you. However, I think everything's gone great, and town's in great shape, and we're looking forward to moving to the future. We opened up a beautiful school, Yentals Farms on the horizon. So everything's going good, and you did a fantastic job. You really did. Thanks.
I just want to echo what's already been said, and I won't belabor the point, but I think that the manner in which you have handled the difficult aspects of chairing a meeting has been exemplary, and it's a difficult task in trying to ensure that everyone, and I mean everyone, has the opportunity to be heard in a public forum while still demanding that folks respect the process and other people's right to be heard in a public forum. So that is not always easy sitting in that chair. This past year, I think at times it's been particularly difficult, and as difficult as it's been for anybody sitting in that chair. So I think that I join both Lou and Mike in just publicly acknowledging that you did a really fine job in that respect. And then in terms of town meeting, I thought that in part it was because of your association with the Yentl Farm redevelopment project. It was certainly in part because of that, but also because you assumed the responsibility of being the chairman for the Board of Selectmen, and I thought that you were the leader amongst us at town meeting, and I appreciate that as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have the awkward spot of always being last to make comments here today, so it's going to be difficult for me to supplement and add to the comments of my colleagues, other than to simply say that I certainly I've learned a lot from you, Judy, in the poise and grace with which you handle very difficult situations, particularly at the end of our meetings, generally. So I admire you greatly, and I almost feel like we're kind of saying goodbye, and it certainly isn't. It isn't that at all. I'm awfully glad you're sticking around, and more importantly, I'm awfully glad that your leadership will continue to be put to use on the Yentl project going forward, especially as we now sort of transitioned into the exciting sort of development and production phases of that project. So again, thank you for a great year, and continued success to you in that regard.
Thank you.
And if I
Yes.
may, Madam Chair, I know that it's my recollection that for the past several years, while the current membership have served together on the board each and every year, probably to a member, we have all acknowledged that we believe that everyone that sits here is more than capable of serving as the chair and chairing these meetings. So I think that that's been a consensus for years now, and I believe that's still the case. I know that the past couple of years, Mr. Shampoo has expressed an interest in being the chair, and I just wanted to ask him if he's interested this year in being the chair.
I am interested. Yes, thank you, Mike.
I'd just like to make a quick comment. I understand what Ms. Newhouse is saying, and I know it seems like over the past 4 to 5 years, it seems like it's been like taking a turn. You know, one individual, the following person, and we've kind of taken that routine, and, you know, and I obviously looking at you saying it's your turn. And that's how I'm looking at it, so, you know, I have no problem at all just showing some support, full support to Mr. Shampoo, and it seems that's what we've been doing, keeping it fair that way, unless other things have changed in elections or whatever. So, you know, and I stated my position there.
Would anyone like to make that in the form of a nomination or a motion to nominate?
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous.
Do I vote for myself? Or is
Yeah,
it-
congratulations, yeah, you would.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yes, you would.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Take your nameplate, Judy.
Oh, we switched.
Oh, nice.
That's always great. Oh, Judy. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think. It's a big change.
Really good.
Look at me. Thank you, guys.
They said you never noticed.
Yeah, so I'm oddly at a loss for words at the moment. I will simply say that, and I appreciate your words, Mr. McCoy, I really do. I hope that in spite of it sort of kind of feeling like it was quote-unquote my turn, that I'm deserving of the job. And I sincerely appreciate the confidence that you place in me. I will only hope to live up to the very high standards that you have each set before me in your turns as chairman, and certainly in yours, Judy. So I will lean on each of you in different ways for your expertise and for your advice always, and please consider it's an open door. I need you to, if you see something that you don't think I saw, please don't ever hesitate to ring into me and let me know, and keep me apprised of your feelings or thoughts on anything. So thank you very much, and we'll just keep on hitting the ground running here. So thank you again.
Very good.
Communication.
We are, at this point, I believe, if I check this off, under number 5 of communications. And I'll turn it over to Town Manager, Mr. Hull.
Under communications, we have correspondence from Eversource, just providing notice that NSTAR will be engaged in some selective herbicide application along rights-of-way through Wilmington. Their yearly operations plan is posted on the website, on their website, www.kernsongroup.com/YOP/2015/NSTAR. So they'll be engaged in foliage treatment running from June 1st through October 16th. And then cutting and surface treatment to occur between October 15th and December 31st. We have correspondence from Gary DePalma from the Democratic Town Committee. This correspondence was sent out on April 6th. That reads in part, "I am writing to you on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and in compliance with Mass General Law, Chapter 51, Section 15, as it pertains to the appointment of a member to the Board of Registrars. Please accept this letter as official notification from the Board of Selectmen that the term of Alice M. Hooper, a member of the Board of Registrars representing the Democratic Party, will expire on April 30, 2015. I go on to cite the particular reference in the general laws and ask for a response. So we have not yet received a response to this correspondence. Next on the, under correspondence, we have a couple of letters with regard to constable positions, the first being from Paul Bruce, Jr. He writes, "I would like to personally thank your office along with the Board of Selectmen for allowing me to serve as constable from the town of Wilmington. I am formally requesting that the Board of Selectmen renew my constable license for 2015-2016 year. I thank you in advance for your time and consideration." Next, we have a letter from Ronald M. D. Gorio. The letter is directed to the board. It reads, "Dear Board of Selectmen, please reappoint me as Constable of Wilmington. I have been a Constable of Wilmington since 1992 and would appreciate your approval of this reappointment. I retired as a Superior Court officer for the Middlesex Superior Court after 28 years. I still live at 11 Marriott Road, Burlington, Mass., and have for 42 years. I will abide by the request to not solicit clients in Wilmington, but have authority to serve civil process for my clients. I am still a constable for Woburn, Medford, Somerville, and Cambridge, as well as Wilmington, and have an active bond for each city and town. My bond is good until August 2016 for Wilmington, at which time it will be renewed, and I will send it to the clerk's office to be filed. I've also completed a training program on the conflict of interest law. Thank you for your consideration on this reappointment." Next, under board to consider, the first item is correspondence from the Sons of Italy and Wilmington band parents. You may recall they had requested use of the Swain School parking lot for Saturday, May 16th, 2015, to conduct a fundraiser. This is a follow-up. They're asking for permission to use the Swain area on May 17th as a rain date. There's no conflicts there.
Would there be a motion or questions?
So move.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous?
Next, we have correspondence from Michael Bogonis, Police Chief. It is with regard to the National Night Out celebration. The Police Department respectfully requests permission to utilize Rotary Park on August 4, 2015 for the purpose of conducting a National Night Out celebration. The introduction of National Night Out, America's Night Out Against Crime, in 1984 began an effort to promote involvement in crime prevention activities, police-community partnerships, neighborhood camaraderie, and send a message to criminals letting them know that neighborhoods are organized and fighting back. NATW's National Night Out program culminates annually on the first Tuesday of August. National Night Out now involves over 37.8 million people in over 16,000 communities from all 50 states, U.S. territories, Canadian cities, and military bases worldwide. The additional Lights On campaign and symbolic front porch vigils turned into a celebration across America with various events and activities included but not limited to block parties, cookouts, parades, visits from emergency personnel, rallies and marches, exhibits, youth events, safety demonstrations, and seminars in an effort to heighten awareness and enhance community relations. Our goal is to continue a tradition of celebrating the National Night Out event every August. Our plan this year is to celebrate the residents of Wilmington with the dunk tank, children's movies, and fun for all ages. We are planning on having a Touch a Truck exhibit, canine demonstrations, and refreshments, to name a few highlights. We will also provide crime prevention education and materials which we are sure the residents of Wilmington will find helpful. This year's event will be sponsored by the Wilmington Police Department in partnership with the Cummings Foundation 100K for 100 grant and other local business partners. The Cummings Foundation's generosity is a key component to the partnerships we have developed with the hope to continue to bring the police department and Wilmington's neighborhoods together in an effort to share crime prevention initiatives and enhance neighborhood involvement in making Wilmington a safer community for all to enjoy. So again, the date that they're seeking is August 4th.
And I trust that the police department has no problem with that date? Sorry. I see that Chief Pagonis is in the room, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Chief, but do you want to talk to this at all? I know we just read the letter complete, but if you wanted to get you don't have to. No, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I would accept a motion to accept that date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there a discussion? My discussion is simply that last year I attended this, as I know a number of you folks did, and it was very well organized, very well attended. I compliment you and all the participants for putting on a great event. It was very interesting. There was a lot of different activities, and it was constantly evolving. So I hope that that this year the attendance would be as good or better than what we saw last year, and I compliment you for that and look forward to seeing it happen again. So that being said, we'll take the vote. All in favor of the National Night Out is unanimous. Thank you, Chief.
Next on the agenda is a request from Khalid Hesmiel to obtain a hawk and pedal license to sell ice cream. He is looking for this license. He has currently had one in the past, and based upon the recommendations from the police chief, upon review, the Wilmington Police Department recommends approval of the 2015 application for permit of hawk and pedal requested by Khalid Hesmiel, 1123 Revere Beach Parkway. The department's review of Mr. Hesmiel has determined there is no evidence to hinder him from being granted the permit as requested. The health director, Shelley Newhouse, indicates I recommend approval of the hawk and pedal license for Khalid Hesmiel.
Is there a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
I hear a motion.
Second.
I hear a second. Is there discussion?
Just quickly, it indicates here in the letter, for workman's compensation affidavit, see that on the application it's left blank, but I'm assuming whatever necessary insurance documentation has been provided to the town?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
If no more discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor of granting the request? All, yes? All in favor is unanimous, yes.
Next for the board to consider are the appointments that the board makes, and I'll just, if you'd like, I can read through the entire slate, or if you want to take them up individually by position, it's your preference.
I have no objection to take them as to read them as an entire slate. Is there objection by anybody on the board to do so?
Just one quick question. I know Mr. Lau's asked, the question is to the manager, have we ever received a letter of asking for reappointment relative to Mr. Lau on the Board of Appeals?
I do not believe he had formally submitted a letter, no.
I'll be honest with you, I mean, that's a powerful position, I'm saying, and I appointed him to the, and he's a good, great guy, to the Yentiles. I mean, I think you should at least get a letter asking for reappointment. You know, if there's not an objection, I wouldn't mind if we table this until the next meeting. I'd love to see a letter. I would love to see a letter, you know? I mean, I just think that's fair, you know? Because it's a 5-year appointment. If we could just table this, I make a motion that we table the appointment until the next meeting until we have a letter.
Would you be making that motion for just the Board of Appeals, or
Yeah,
do you want to move ahead to the other boards and just leave that one until?
Well, you know, I mean, the other ones I understand, the Council of Arts I can understand, but a position like that, you know, it just shouldn't be automatic. You know, I mean, I think you should ask for a letter to the Board of Selectmen for a reappointment, and I'm sure it's a routine, you know, it should be something that should be considered. You know, it's a powerful position, and I think something like that should be sent to our board.
So procedurally, I want to make sure we handle this correctly. Would that
Can I
be?
make a motion just to table this until the next meeting, and then you can take the rest as a whole if you want, Mr. Chair, whatever you desire.
So the motion has been made to table the appointment of the 5-year term Board of Appeals, specifically Edward Loud, until the next meeting. That motion has been made.
Yes.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there additional discussion? All in favor of tabling that motion? Looks like that's unanimous. We will move on to the second. I guess, is there reason, should we go one by one? Jeff, do you have a discussion on each of these?
Yeah, it may be at this point. What my suggestion is we take them up one by one at this point, at least in terms of the categories. With regard to the Board of Registrars, as I noted previously, a letter had gone out to the Democratic Committee on April 6th asking for a letter in response as to whether their intention was to reappoint Alice Hooper. There has not been a response to this point. The general law indicates that in the absence of a response after 45 days from issuance of a letter, the board could simply appoint that individual. Quite honestly, historically, whether it's been the Republican Town Committee or the Democratic Town Committee, oftentimes we don't receive any response at all. But my suggestion here would be that this appointment be tabled until your next meeting.
At the next meeting, so we would still be within the time frame allotted to be able to vote on it at the next meeting.
Yes.
So with that suggestion, is there a motion to table this appointment as well?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Mike, in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Unanimous to
Sorry.
table that.
Next is the Council of Arts, two-year term to expire 2017. We have the following individuals: Sarah E. Brook, Marguerite Ella, Diane L. Giambardano, and Linda D. Malloy.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Unanimous?
Under the category Fence Viewer, one-year term to expire June 30, 2016, Paul Aluni and John T. Spalding.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? None. All in favor? Yes, unanimous.
Town Council, one-year term to expire June 30, 2016. John Foskett, representing Deutsch Williams, Brooks, Durensis, and Holland, PC.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made and seconded. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Unanimous.
Under the category of constables, one-year terms to expire 2016, Paul D. Bruce, Jr., Alan C. Hunter, Charles E. Rooney, Jr., John B. Bridges, Jr. I would note that Mr. Bridges, there's a restriction not to solicit clients for civil process who need service in Wilmington. Ronald M. DiGregorio, a similar restriction. William F. Papicelli, a similar restriction. John J. Rowan, same restriction. And Anthony J. Saya, same restriction.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Would be adding Ellen.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Davis.
yes, and Alan G. Davis Sawyer, only in conjunction with duties as animal control officer.
Sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? All in favor of that panel? Unanimous.
Next, under the board to consider are the appointments of the town manager for the categories listed. First of all, as noted previously on the Commission on Disabilities, there is currently a vacancy. We are seeking candidates for that position. We've posted it in various places. Historical Commission, three-year term to expire 2018, Kathleen Black Reynolds and Diane T. Harvey.
Is there a motion to accept that, those names for the Historical Commission? Actually, are we doing,
It's just a confirmation of my appointments,
so
essentially.
we're ratifying your appointments?
Yes.
All right, so I'm sorry. Is there a motion to ratify the town manager's appointment?
So moved.
Second?
Made and seconded. All in favor? Unanimous?
Historical Commission term to expire 2017. Again, I'll note that there's a vacancy there, and I'm in the process of looking to fill that. We're posting that as well. Under Permanent Building Committee, three-year term to expire 2018, Diane M. Allen and Paul J. Melrani.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. I see, is there discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Jeff, just to confirm, those two vacancies, when you have identified candidates or the post there, you'll bring that to our attention for a vote
Yes.
at a future date? Thank you.
Next, this is just an announcement essentially of the appointments or reappointments that I've made to various positions. For the position of Animal Control Officer, one-year term to expire 2016, Ellen G. Sawyer. Animal Inspector, one-year term to expire 2016, Ellen G. Sawyer. Building Inspector, one-year term to expire 2016, John T. Spalding. Peter R. Maggie, Local Inspector. The Carter Lecture Fund Committee, three-year term to expire 2018, Ann H. Berghaus and Margaret A. St. Ange. Cemetery Commission, three-year term to expire 2018, Judith Simmons. Conservation Commission, three-year term to expire 2018, Vincent Licciardi. And I would note there is one vacancy that I'm in the process of filling. Elderly Services Commission, three-year term to expire 2018, Mary S. Dion and Charlotte DeMarco. Ms. DeMarco is, would be a new appointment. Electrical Inspector, one-year term to expire 2016, Frederick Sutter and Arthur T. Kelly, the alternate. Gas Inspector, one-year term to expire 2016, Paul J. Raffi. John J. Mytek Jr. is the alternate. Board of Health, three-year term to expire 2018, Jane A. Williams Vale. Library Trustees, three-year term to expire 2018, Joan Grady and Daniel J. Hall. I would note that Mr. Hall, this is a new appointment. Middlesex Canal Commission, two-year term to expire 2017, Betty M. Bigwood, Michael J. McInnes, and Neil P. Devens, alternate. Open Space Committee, one-year term to expire 2016, Judith A. Waterhouse, Charles Michael Burns, Phyllis P. Genetti, Beverly A. Shea. Planning Board, a five-year term to expire 2020, Rondi R. Holland. Plumbing Inspector, one-year term to expire 2016, Paul J. Raffi and John J. Mytek Jr. as the alternate. Public Weigher, one-year term to expire 2016, Paul Anderson, Kenneth M. Heffron, Stephen J. Stella, and David A. Shagru. Recreation Commission, three-year term to expire 2018, Sheila Burke and Laura Robarge. Trustee of Trust Funds, three-year term to expire 2018, Michael Morris, Michelle Gomes, Pamela McKenzie. Veterans Agent, one-year term to expire 2016, Louis Semeglia, the fourth. Veterans Grave Officer, one-year term to expire 2016, Louis Semeglia, the fourth. Water and Sewer Commission, three-year term to expire 2018, Robert W. Levita. And Wiring Inspector, one-year term to expire 2016, Frederick Sutter and Arthur T. Kelly as the alternate.
Okay. Thank you for that, which brings us to public comments. Is there anyone that would like to ask a question or voice a concern? Seeing none, we'll jump right into our new business or committee reports, and today I'll start out of respect for her just retiring from this post. I'll start to my left.
Thank you. First of all, once again, congratulations to you on being our new chairman. I really look forward to working with you over the next year, and anything I can do to lend a hand, I'm sure you won't hesitate to let me know.
You get that right.
I just wanted to thank everyone publicly on this board and the residents at home for participating in town meeting. I'd specifically like to acknowledge the work of the Utah Farm Development Committee and the fact that we were graciously granted the funding appropriation for $4.8 million by the residents of Wilmington. So as chair of that committee, I'm really looking forward to continuing with my colleagues. We've spent about 2.5 years, as you know, and we're looking at at least another 2 more years working on that project. You also know that there was a naming article that came forward. I took a position as a committee leader to try and uphold a public process. The assembly there saw fit to vote on it against the majority recommendation of the committee. Certainly, it was the will of the people to name it that day, so we're proud to announce that we do have a new facility name, which is the Entile Farm Recreation Facility. So in spite of the fact that we were trying to advocate for a public process, I expect at our next committee meeting, which is tomorrow night, that we will be discussing unanimously as a group that we will 100% fully embrace that name and work to construct a facility that not only the residents of Wilmington can be proud of, but very specifically the Entile family, which is being honored with that name. So I hope people understand on this board where we were coming from with that position. And then lastly, on the individual components, we were granted the opportunity with the approval of the town manager to be able to name the various components, such as a field or a bench or a playground. So we expect as a committee that we will be working over the coming year to establish a policy and public criteria through the work of the manager to make sure that it's a public, inclusive, and transparent process that has some procedure to it so that we're not just arbitrarily picking names. And certainly we're cognizant of the roots to Wilmington and picking names or suggesting names that would be pleasing to the community. So I wanted to just share that. Lastly, I wanted to just put a request to you as the new chair. It's at some point, I don't want to get into a lot of details, but what triggered me to bring this up is quite frankly, Selectman McCoy's comment about a letter from Mr. Loud for that position. I think I'd also like to say that I'd like to have some discussion at some point regarding the appointment process for the Finance Committee members. And I say that to you because for those that don't recall or those that are listening at home, the Finance Committee members are appointed by the town moderator, the chairman of the Finance Committee, and the chairman of the Board of Selectmen. And all of the Finance Committee members are well-intended volunteers, and they do a great job. So I don't want to have this be taken as a negative. I just think that as a process, that's something that we could look at and possibly improve communications and how that's deliberated and how that is unfolded. So I think we're in good shape in that regard, but I think I'd like to have a little bit more discussion about that, and I'd like you to consider putting that as an agenda item at some point moving forward.
Yeah.
At an appropriate time.
I'd like to talk to you more about that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mike?
I'm good as far as committee reports. I just want to say congratulations on your new post. I know you're going to do an outstanding job, and as well as everyone else, look forward to working with you, and the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We go all the way down? We'll go to Mike.
Okay. I'd just like to, well, first, congratulations to you, Mr. Shampoo. For quite an extended period of time now, we have explained, when I say we, I think the town manager has publicly made comment, members of the board have publicly made comment with respect to providing access to the artificial field turf surface at the high school to various youth groups. I know that has always been the intention. That's what we indicated to people would happen. I've continued to explain to folks who have asked questions about that, that, you know, we're still amidst an $85 million or so construction project, that, you know, scheduling is important, and maintaining a safe environment and construction site is important, and I think that folks, by and large, accept that, but I just want to make sure that it's on our radar going forward, that we have discussions and that we're proactive in educating the general public, and specifically these various youth groups, as to what the expectations will be. And I know that the manager has been proactive in making sure that we have certain rules and protocols to make sure that we protect, within reason, the product that the folks of the residents of Wilmington have elected to spend the money on. So So I just wanted to ask that we get that on the radar and continue to support the manager in his efforts to bring that out to the public at the appropriate time, which I'm assuming is still, upon completion of the high school project and the high school campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Lou?
Congratulations, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
I'd just like to remind everybody about Memorial Day coming up. I believe we might have one more meeting before. Irregardless, it's Monday, May 25th, and the parade steps off at 10 o'clock from Market Basket parking lot. Market Basket has graciously allowed us to do that for many, many years. So I'd like to thank them. And we step off from there, and then at the cemetery at 11 a.m., we have the Memorial Day ceremonies. Also, that whole weekend, we have different events scheduled. Saturday morning, we decorate all the veterans' graves at the Wildwood Cemetery. All are welcome to come down and place a flag and a geranium on all the marked veterans' graves. And then we do a little dedication ceremony on Sunday. The schedule will be put in the newspaper, hopefully this weekend, next week, and maybe on the Wilmington Apple, and they help get the word out. And just to remind everybody again that May is Military Month, and thank you for supporting all the veterans in Wilmington. Wilmington has been a great town on so many fronts, but very patriotic and very supportive of veterans and their causes. So thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Smaglia. Wilmington's patriotism is in no small part due to your leadership in that regard, so we certainly admire and respect you, and thank you for that always. I believe that we do not actually have another meeting before Memorial Day, so we will hope that that message got out and that people will attend. Just for me, I want to express that I'm very, very grateful to each of you again for the opportunity to be here and to serve you and to serve the people of Wilmington. I look forward to the course of the next year expanding the role with which I serve the people of Wilmington. I look forward to working much more closely with you, Jeff, and with your staff. And again, I invite all criticisms and constructive advice at any time from all of you.
will.
I know. So thank you again. I had the great opportunity to attend on your behalf, on behalf of this board, the Good Guy presentation on Friday evening this past, and it was awarded to Anne St. Ange, who I won't go through the myriad ways that she is deserving of the high honor of Good Guy of Wilmington, but she is indeed. She's very active in a myriad of projects and giving back to this community and the greater community at large. So I want to congratulate her and all that were in attendance. It was a very nice event. That's it. I will pass it over to the town manager to review important dates.
Mr. Chair, before I do that, if I could, just a couple of points that I would like to make under new business. First of all, the Open Space Committee is in the process of finalizing the Open Space and Recreation Plan. A draft of this plan was submitted to the state, the Mass Department of Energy, Environmental Resources a little over a year ago. And there is additional work that needs to be done to fine-tune it. One element of that is to solicit input on the types of uses that residents would like to see, whether it be more walking trails or other recreational opportunities. There's a survey that has been put out. It's actually online. If you go to the Wilmington's homepage, it is under News and Notices section of the webpage. It's also in hard copy available at the Town Hall, the library, and the Senior Center. We encourage everyone to complete that survey and offer up your comments in terms of our open space plan. The deadline on that is June 5th. That information will then be incorporated into the final document that goes into the state. This will allow us to be eligible for grant funding, and certainly one of the key areas that we're focused on is being able to access grant funding for the Yentile project, so this is a very important step for us to be taking. The other comment I would like to make is some information that has come to my attention via some Facebook correspondence or Facebook communications, and this deals with concerns over the Wildwood Cemetery and items that are taken from the cemetery, whether they be flowers that are placed there or other ornaments or items of some personal significance to those who have departed. There's been a flurry of communication seemingly of late. It's been ongoing off and on over the last probably year or two anyways, with a sense that the town, I guess, does not care about what is going on there, and that I guess a call to basically stop the amount of theft that's going on. For those who may have participated in those entries, I just want it to be known that the town does care very much about the individuals who are buried there and their families, and the challenge is, as with any public cemetery, that monitoring a space like that is just very difficult. There is access, as you know, to that space pretty unrestricted. I don't quite honestly believe that it is an appropriate use of police resources to have police patrols in the cemetery. There's been some talk about putting cameras in the cemetery. Given a space that size, I just don't see that as really doing the trick, so to speak, not to mention those who are simply in the cemetery for either a stroll or to visit the grave of a loved one. I think there might be some measure of concern about Big Brother watching them. So I just want to bring this up because it seems to be a reoccurring theme amongst some that somehow the town isn't doing its job. I think whether it's Tewksbury or Billerica or any of these communities that have cemeteries, we all face the same challenges. Quite often you'll see in the Globe or other newspapers instances where graves have been desecrated. It's incredible that people would go to that extent, but unfortunately that's what happens. I don't think there is any easy answer to address that, but we will be looking at trying to respond, I guess, certainly to the extent that people are interested in offering ideas, we're willing to listen, but I really don't see any easy answer. Private cemeteries, I guess, have the ability to literally fence off and close down the cemeteries and at certain times so that perhaps people are not allowed in after a set time. Historically, that's not been the case with the Wildwood Cemetery, and I suspect people would be reluctant to put in 10-foot fencing around the whole perimeter of the cemetery to totally lock it down. So I just bring this up in part for those people who have expressed these concerns to let you know that we are aware of them, we're concerned, but to some measure our hands are tied. There is no easy solution. So with that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone has any feedback or commentary on that. I find it sad that it even has to be discussed, frankly. I think the greater concern is not personally speaking, the greater concern is not the blogging of a few folks on Facebook. The greater concern is the disrespect shown by whoever's doing these acts in the cemetery. I can't even fathom that. And I would certainly hope that if anyone knows of anyone that has done that, that they would speak up and maybe contact the police force or let someone in a position of authority know so that we can try to put an end to it. But that's my position on it. Important dates.
Under important dates, May 12th, which is tomorrow, we have the Yentell Farm Development Committee meeting here at the Town Hall, Room 9, 6 p.m. May 17th is the Pan Mass Challenge Kids Ride over at Carter Lane, which is at the middle school, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. May 25th, as was previously noted, is the Memorial Day Parade, 10 a.m. Cemetery at the ceremony at the Wildwood Cemetery beginning at 11. Town offices will be closed on that day. May 26th is the next Board of Selectmen's meeting in Room 9 at 7 p.m. May 28th is the next High School Building Committee meeting at Town Hall, Room 9, 6:30 p.m. June 4th is the Shawshene Tech graduation. June 6th is the recreation-sponsored fishing derby over at the town beach at 9 a.m. from 9 to noon at Silver Lake. June 7th is the Wilmington High School graduation, which will be held in the new high school gym. And then June 13th is the next townwide yard sale, 9 to 3. You may recall that the library is sponsoring this, but there'll be yard sales throughout town, but being posted through the library.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Made and seconded. All in favor? Thank you and good night.